disconnected.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I have everything here to convert my bike from the standard 7/8 bars to 1/8" ProTaper fat bars. This is all from CRFsonly.com. The bars come with the crossbar pad. These are the CR mid bars. I also have a set of ProTaper pillow top grips. I also have the 7/8 to 1 1/8 adapters. It's the universal bar clamps from ProTaper. Right here I have the aluminum throttle tube from Zeta, and also have the Zeta clamps because replacing my hand guards, going up with the fatter bars right here where they mount, you have to have the bigger clamps in order to clamp your hand guards on to the bigger bars. So this is a complete thing of everything you're going to need. I'm going to post the links below so you can check these out on CRFsonly.com. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff installed. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to have to do is remove the stock bars. And they're held on by these clamps right here. So I have to remove these 12mm bolts. Also have to remove all of my stuff, my ram mount, my mirrors with the 8mm, the Phillips screws to take off the lighting controls and the horn switch. I'll remove my Zeta hand guards. I'll also be removing my brake that has my ThinkWare dash cam, so all this stuff has to come off. And then the start controls right here and throttle assembly will also have to come off and get ready for the new stuff. So let me go ahead and I'm going to take all this off and just let it dangle beside the bike while I put the other bars on, then I can reposition all this stuff back up on the bars. Okay, after you have removed your cover off of this throttle assembly, when you have your bars unbolted, you can just slide the handlebars right out of the throttle assembly. The way I do this is you have to be real careful, but you can pull up on this until it gets past the plastic. You don't want to break anything, so you got to be careful about it. You can loosen the throttle cable and take it loose down by the carb or by the fuel injection, but I've found that this is the easiest way to do it. If you tilt this just right, pull your cables out like so, get them to where they go to the notch, they'll come out of there like so. Then we put the new one in. Okay, now we'll stick the new Zeta aluminum one in the same way we took the other one out. We will start right here. A little bit off camera there, but you can get the idea. You need to put these back just like they came off without putting anything in a bind or fraying your cable, so you have to be real careful. But it will fit right back in there. Like so. We'll get it back down in there and we're all good. It's just kind of a tight fit, so you really have to be careful. If you don't think you can do that, take your cable loose on the other end down on the throttle body, and it may be safer for you, but this is just the way I do it. So now we're ready. We can slide the ProTaper bars in before we put the bars up in place. All right, now to install the adapters, we're going to need to take them apart with a 10mm socket. Spin these bolts out of here. Set that part aside. And the way these are designed is they're offset. These bolts here, so the way you want them is the part that's going to clamp your bars on will be to the outside. So we'll go just like that. And we'll set the other side on, and then we'll take Allen wrench and tighten those down. I didn't show it there on the bolts, but I did forget to tell you I put blue Loctite on all these bolts. Okay, now we can take our ProTaper bars, slide it onto our throttle tube assembly, and then just set our bars down into place while we put on the top clamps. We're not going to tighten these yet till we get these in place where we want them. So we'll just run them down to their snug. Need to get my clamper here and put that on. These are marked with an up arrow, so make sure you get that correct. Same way with this, we're going to just hand tighten them down until we position all the controls in the bars where we want them, to where they're comfortable. You will want to, before you tighten this part here down, you will want to slide it out till it meets the end here of your tube. I just barely go past the end, just a smidge, so the grip can't rub on the end of it, even though it has this plastic insert, which we're using the Zeta handguards. We'll be taking this plastic insert right here out because we won't need that. But for now, we'll leave it like this. So we can run this down until it's snug, but don't tighten it up yet. We'll mount our other side back on here, the controls. And then we put our horn and headlights, signal controls back on here. Okay, on this cover here, from the factory you will have a dowel that's in a hole right here, and it's made out of metal. And I could have ground it off, but what I done was I took a lighter and held it to it till it got hot enough. Then I could take these channel locks and twist until I pull that dowel up out of there. And that dowel goes in a hole in your handlebar to hold this thing from turning. And you can drill a hole in the bars. I wouldn't recommend it. Just to keep the strength in the bars, I'd rather just take the dowel out, because this is not a pressure, the thing with pressure on it anyway to move, so it's not, I don't think that it's going to move at all anyway. So I just removed the dowel, and it could be put back in if you wanted to. My throttle side did not have it. Now yours may, depending on the year model, but the set 2017 and up 250L just has one on the clutch side. Okay, now is where you'll want to position your bars to where you want them and tighten them down before you put your grips on. That way they won't be moving around on you when you're applying pressure to push the grips on. So find a place where they're comfortable. You don't want your bars up too high where they're angled. This is angled uphill. You want them pretty flat, but to where it's comfortable for you. And then center your bars. There's some lines on here that you can center between these two mounts, so they're dead center. And then get them in the position you want, which my position is right there. And then when you tighten these, you want to tighten these evenly. There's a relief gap here on both sides, and you want to tighten those evenly. Some people say tighten the front all the way down, then tighten the rear. You can do it that way. I tighten them evenly. The gap will be the same, but tighten them down evenly. You can torque these. It'll probably be about 20 foot-pounds, but I never torque mine. I just tighten them down. I know about how tight I need them, and then tighten them evenly in position where I want them. Okay, now we can adjust our clutch levers where we want them. I always want my clutch levers where they're at a downhill angle instead of just flat out. It also makes it easier for when you're standing. Same way with the brake. I want it downhill a little bit, not too extreme, where it's still comfortable for reach, but yet a little downhill. And get them positioned where I want them, then I can tighten them up. The brake side will do the same way. It's easier to tell on the brake side because usually if your brake lever is at a down angle where you want it, then your brake reservoir here will be level, the top of it. So that feels good. Now we need to tighten our throttle tube assembly and our instrument switches. Okay, to get my bar pad to fit, I did have to take a X-Acto knife and trim this out a little bit because this is a wider stance than what it was before with these adapters on. But just trim it out a little bit with the X-Acto knife and fits nicely. Then all I gotta do is put my cover on and that part will be ready. Slide my grips on and we're done. Okay, the grips come, your throttle tube side is gonna be bigger, a larger diameter hole than your clutch side will be the small diameter hole. And they have a line across here, pretty much where when you put it on, you want it to where that's up. It doesn't really matter, but some grips it does, depending on the type of grip. But we'll just place them where that's up like that. All right, our next step is to slide our grip on. And you definitely want to use grip glue. I've heard of people using hairspray. I've heard them using WD-40, which is something that is water soluble. And let me tell you, if these get wet, they will come off. But now, one cool thing is if you do have the hand guards and they bolt on here, they will actually help keep them, or stop these from coming off. Right now, I'm going to install the grips and I have to get the inserts to fit these aluminum bars because they're thicker walled before I can put my Zeta hand guards on. That's the one thing I forgot. So use grip glue or rubber cement, which is all grip glue is rubber cement. We'll put some on the inside, we'll put some on here and then slide the grip on. This is knurled, so when it's glued on, it won't be coming off. This old glue is pretty old and gooey, but should still do the trick. The glue will make it slick as long as you don't wait too much time. Make it slick where the grip will slide on a whole lot easier. So I want to get plenty on there. I have to clean up my mess later. Try to get a little bit on the inside of the grip, which is going to be hard to do. Okay, once we get that, we should be able to just take our grip and you'll have to force it to get up on there. You want to scoot it all the way up as far as it goes. I may have to adjust this stuff to match. Make sure that all your little pillow top squares are in line. That way you know you're not twisted and it's all the way on until it hits. So we should be in good shape right there. Now we'll just do the other side and we're done. This is some thick, gooey stuff, but it will still work. It's gotten old on me. No telling how old it is. The one thing you don't want to do, that I don't recommend, is be careful not to get a bunch of glue in this end where your throttle tube spins on the bar itself, because you don't want to get glue in that where it will hinder the throttle from twisting. So I probably won't put any in the grip on this one because I don't want the stuff balling up to the end of the grip and then getting around this throttle tube assembly. Don't be afraid to get aggressive with it. You got to get it on there. You'll have to push and pull. This one's a little harder to go on than the other side, even though this grip is larger diameter for the throttle side. Now make sure all of our grip is lined up straight, and then it's all the way on until it hits the stop back there. If you get in too far and you start feeling it stopping it from locking back, you want to make sure you don't get that up against it too hard to stop your throttle from snapping back. Okay guys, that's it to the install of the ProTaper bars, pillow top grips, the 7/8 to 1 1/8 adapters, and of course I had to cut the crossbar pad out a little bit, or the bar pad, to make it fit. But we're good to go. They'll be a lot better than your stock bars. They look really sweet. You can get all this at CRFsonly.com. I will post a link for you to each one of these items and a link to CRFsonly.com where you can check them out. He has some great prices, and he has pretty much anything you would want for your dual sport, anything Honda CRF, he has it. So thank you all for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Click thumbs up. Right on.